Hurricane Michael ripped through the Florida Panhandle 6 years ago. Mayor Margo Anderson's book reveals what really happened in Lynn Haven. 600 pages with actual FBI investigation memos and much more. The foreword is written by Guy Lewis, a Fox News contributor who oversaw all federal prosecutors under Attorney General John Ashcroft nearly 20 years ago. He represented James Finch, the longtime contractor hit with bogus charges so absurd that 2 juries rejected them. It didn't take long for the second jury to return a not guilty verdict. Margo's book is a journey of legal treachery that will shock the conscience of every American. Order your copy today of Hurricane Michael, Storm of Corruption at Amazon.com. Or you can pick up a copy in Lynn Haven at Victoria's Last Bite. This one's going to be hot. You're going to enjoy this one because I have taken time to research a few things, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to start right off with the news story right now to set this up, and you will see how serious and dire the situation is in Panama City. But the commissioners want you to believe that it's all misinformation. Misinformation from certainly here. Misinformation from WMBB even. The city clerk is also the treasurer. I believe she's a CPA, and they say she's wrong. And I'm going to show you exactly what they've been saying over the weekend, and you decide for yourself who's telling the truth. But there's a whole lot of money on the line, lots of consequences. And this goes to show you what happens when you get a bunch of elected officials who put their lobbyists and donors first and don't give a flip what you have to say. They will tear up your neighborhood. They will destroy Scenic Beach Drive as long as they please William Harrison. He's the kingpin. He is he was the lobbyist for the St. Joe Company and the county commission and the campaign manager for Sheriff Ford. I believe he was the campaign manager for State Attorney Bassford. This guy is super duper powerful. He runs it, and now he's a developer. Now he's a big developer, and he's getting all the deals. And he meets with these commissioners the day before the meetings, and he texts them during the meetings, I believe, tells them what to say. And they do it. You know why? Because they want to please him, and they don't want to upset him because he is their only constituent. Okay. Let me show you what the story is first, and then I'm going to show you what the commissioners have been posting and their explanations over the weekend. Watch this.
So that prompted News 13.
All right, here we go.
2 months ago, Panama City Clerk Jan Smith revealed the city's reserve funds are dangerously low. That prompted News 13's Maggie McGuigan to produce a story comparing the amount of other Bay County cities that they're holding in their reserve accounts. As Maggie tells us tonight, the lack of money in Panama City's reserve funds is apparently more urgent than it was just 2 months ago.
I'm not going to be the one holding the bag at the end of the year when there's no money left.
Okay.
And the treasurer, why did you let us run out of money? It's not going to be me.
Panama City Treasurer Jan.
Whoa. So that right there, she is the treasurer. She's the city clerk. I believe she's a CPA. And I believe she is leaving. I don't think she's going to continue. I think she's resigning or retiring or something, but she knows how serious this is. All right, I'm going to show you the rest of that. I'm going to show you exactly. I've got the exact posts. I've analyzed them from what the commissioners are saying about why all this is just wrong. The city has lots of reserves, lots of money, and they're very fiscally responsible. And every single dollar they spend is allocated to the utmost for infrastructure and stormwater. None of the money is spent frivolously, certainly none of the FEMA money. That's what they say. I'll show it to you right after this.
Strong, effective leadership. 3 words that could mean the difference between prison and your freedom. I'm Al Saleen, your Panama City Beach lawyer. 850-215-0628.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777. You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway.
And Smith,
you can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome. All right, let's get back to the story. I'm going to start from the beginning so you can see it, and then we're going to go through it.
2 months ago, Panama City Clerk Jan Smith revealed the city's reserve funds are dangerously low. That prompted News 13's Maggie McGuigan to produce a story comparing the amount of other Bay County cities that they're holding in their reserve accounts. As Maggie tells us tonight, the lack of money in Panama City's reserve funds is apparently more urgent than it was just 2 months ago.
I'm not going to be the one holding the bag at the end of the year when there's no money left.
Okay.
And the treasurer, why did you let us run out of money? It's not going to be me.
Panama City Treasurer Jan Smith once again warned city commissioners about controlling their spending habits on Tuesday night. A couple of months ago, Panama City had the lowest reserve fund in Bay County, allocating just 6.44% of their general fund towards reserves. The state recommends 17%. The issue was revealed right before the city decreased the controversial fire assessment tax. Smith recommended against that move. Since the start of the fiscal year, commissioners have boosted the reserves to 14.7%, but Smith told commissioners it won't last long.
If we receive every penny that has been budgeted and we spend every penny that has been budgeted, we'll be effectively with no reserves at the end of the year. Doesn't mean we can't pay our bills. It means we don't have a savings account. It means we're living paycheck to paycheck.
If activities for this year's budget go to plan, the reserve fund will be less than 1%. Reserve funds are essential in protecting a city in the event of a natural disaster, another pandemic, or any form of economic catastrophe.
Our city clerk says if we have a disaster here, we're in trouble. She's quitting and she's leaving, because there's not going to be any money left anymore. So what we're doing, we're spending money that we should be saving money.
The issues all lead back to Hurricane Michael and those recovery expenses.
We've got so many projects that are actually on the ground in construction. So doing that, we took out a temporary line of credit, or actually a loan that has interest expense that's.
So this is Josh Street. He is the main culprit. Okay, he's a commissioner. And oh my gosh. So he's talking about, we took out a temporary loan. The temporary loan he's talking about is a $150 million loan. The city is paying $9 million a year in interest payments for the loan. It was a 3-year loan. It was supposed to be used for critical infrastructure. And I don't know where the hell the money is. I don't know if anybody knows where the $150 million is, except for his puppet master and kingpin William Harrison and the rest of them who run that town. This guy is, I'm going to start, listen to what he's saying. It's $150 million that the city borrowed. And he's like, well, the temporary thing, we're very, very responsible. Watch, listen to him. Trying to catch his breath. Watch.
Hurricane Michael and those recovery expenses.
We've got so many projects that are actually on the ground in construction. So doing that, we took out a temporary line of credit, or
$150 million
that has interest expense that's with that, about $8 million a year.
And $9
really put a lot of strains on the budget, including our reserves.
Smith says there is time to make a change only if commissioners are willing to make budget cuts.
The thing is, the fiscal year just started. It's December. We have until September. If somebody would do something, it could get fixed.
In Bay County, Maggie McGuigan, News 13, Panhandle Strong.
The ones doing it the most are Commissioner Josh Street, Commissioner Jenna Halligus, also Commissioner Brian Granger, and Commissioner Janice Lucas, in that order. But the first two are so adamant that the CPA for the city doesn't know what the hell she's talking about, that they've been posting like crazy on Facebook. I'll show you. Let's go right to it. So, all right, So this is just amazing to me. Oh my God. So let's start with Josh Street. After I did a show on this, did I do one Friday night? And all of a sudden, people are going crazy that I did a show on this. Everybody says misinformation. Thompson and WMBB, for once reporting on the same side of a story, it's misinformation. And so Josh Street made a big post. And the next day, Commissioner Jenna Halligus made a big post. And let's take a close look at him. So Josh Street. Josh Street in his first post on Friday night basically is saying that government accounting is tricky. It's a lot going on. It's not like accounting at a regular business. It's fund accounting, right? There's a lot of funds, and you could have money in one fund and money in another fund simultaneously. That's what government accounting is, I've been told by the county. So let's read what Commissioner Josh Street had to say. Understanding the reserves conversation. Now, Josh Street is a finance pastor, so he's probably as educated as the CPA of the city. He's a finance pastor. That's what the city said in February. All right, so he's up there in terms of education on this stuff. Understanding the reserves conversation. Now, he hates this scrutiny, but listen how he talks. I'm grateful for the community's interest in our city's reserves. And here's a breakdown to help clarify. What happened? As I'm reading through this, don't worry if you're not following it perfectly, because complexity masks fraud. 3 words to never forget. Complexity masks fraud. What happened? Well, Josh Street says on June 1st, 2023, we had $26.8 million in our unassigned fund balance. In August of 2024, the commission approved restricting $22 million in our unassigned fund balance, insurance proceeds previously included in general reserves, for future debt repayment. Then in September, we unanimously approved, and this would have been when Greg Brudnicki was there, I think. Maybe not. Maybe he's talking about this September. We unanimously approved transferring $4 million from reserves to cover hurricane-related already paid expenses from 2020. I think it would have been after Greg Brudnicki that it was a unanimous vote. These weren't new costs, but reimbursements to other cash accounts and debt. This transfer resulted in a noticeable drop in the general reserve balance in the monthly budget report. Here's the kicker. Sparking public interest and conversation. Public interest and conversation, because, man, it just looked different, you know? Now, our CPA, she's very concerned, but she worries a lot. Jan Smith is the city clerk and CPA. She's like, I'm leaving. You guys are nuts. A smart move, too, because there's this weird narrative being pushed. City clerks are being vilified by everybody from Jesse Nelson to Tho Bishop with the Republican Executive Committee, Arthur Cullen, Jenna Halligus, Josh Street. Everybody's like, city clerks, man, want to raise taxes and can't really count too good. Weird. I woke up yesterday hoping to have a relaxing Sunday preparing for Christmas, and I see the craziest bullshit being posted and the weirdest alliances that I had to come do a live sort of a mini explanation about what I'm going to show you tonight. You want to get me fired up? Send people who never post on my page to come post it on the Bernie Thompson show with nonsense, because now I know I'm over the target. Hey, I'll tell you what, let's get a couple commissioners to post pre-written scripts with lots of details on the spot. Like I don't notice that. And then have a bunch of people go on the page and start, saying stuff. I'm on to you now. And it's going to be a new FBI. It's going to be a new Justice Department, new Homeland Security. I don't know. Maybe there's hope. All right, let's look at the next part of Josh Street's post to clarify. All right, summary of changes to the general fund reserve. We've adjusted how we present reserves to give a clear financial snapshot. Previously, insurance proceeds and cash on hand inflated our perceived general fund reserves, making reserves appear healthier. Why the change? The finance pastor says self-restricting unassigned cash provides transparency because Panama City is all about transparency. And then he says clear financial reports to help staff make sound decisions. We got to help staff, not real bright, That's all. Just a little move there made it appear different. And that's too complex for our CPA, Jan Smith. Josh Street goes on Friday night. He says, and watch, this is where they start to vilify the clerk. They make it about the city clerk is a Democrat, they say, wants to raise taxes, and we're not going to raise your taxes. We're good Republicans, he says. This is being said by Tho Bishop. Unbelievable. An economist. This is being said by Josh Street, Jenna Halligus, and then over across town in Lynn Haven, you've got the mayor, Jesse Nelson, with some strange diatribe last week before this, talking about, well, I've noticed there's a lot of city clerks across the United States who are stealing money. And we don't need a city clerk in Lynn Haven because we can't have that kind of liability, says Jesse Nelson. WMB. Now I'm seeing everybody, all the usual suspects, creating a narrative that city clerks steal right when everybody's vilifying the city clerk who's in Panama City going, hey, we're in a dire situation. You're not going to have any reserve by the end of the year. Smart move, Jan Smith, because they will invent a crime. They will imagine a crime. And then they will fabricate evidence. And since they can't send you to Chattahoochee anymore, straight to jail. All right, let's see what Josh Street says here. Budget recommendations and priorities. He wants to clarify to the unwashed masses who aren't as smart as the finance pastor. In September, our clerk, that greedy broad that sits over there, doesn't look all happy all the time, says Josh Street. Our clerk recommended a 0.5 mil tax increase to maintain a disaster cushion. Instead, the commission unanimously voted for significant tax cuts benefiting homeowners, low-income seniors, and disabled veterans. You see how he stacks the deck? You always oppose taxes increases, always. Because the so-and-sos have enough damn money. What they ought to be doing is not spending, $33 million in FEMA money to rebuild the Martin Theater. Right? Just stop spending so damn much. You don't need to increase taxes. She probably knew you weren't going to stop spending so damn much. But look how look in response, the clerk. I can't believe these guys are so nasty to her. She suggested cutting all capital projects outside of grants and the state revolving fund loan. I wonder what she knows. She's a CPA. Hey, FBI, Justice Department, how about get on the same damn team and go down there and find out what's going on? It's Christmas, Bernie. All right. Well, maybe after the holidays, get back to work, a New Year's resolution. All right. In response, the clerk suggested cutting all capital projects outside grants and the state revolving fund loan. We unanimously disagreed again. Why? Because that broad doesn't know jack. No, he didn't say that. Relying solely on grants would leave many he would be perfect. Like when Pete Buttigieg is gone, Josh Street is the perfect replacement to Pete Buttigieg. I mean, they probably wear the exact same size clothes, shop at the same place, same mannerisms, same bullshit gaslighting. Exactly what they're doing bad to people, he acts like they're doing good. This guy's just amazing. By the way, he's running for re-election in April. Vote him out, will you? Like you've been doing. Relying solely on grants will leave many neighborhoods without progress. Citizens expect improvement citywide with their tax dollars, not just in grant-funded areas. Yeah, Josh, no kidding. So you're right. That is what people want. How are the potholes in Panama City? After you borrowed $150 million in 2023. $150 million they borrowed. Are the roads better in Panama City? Are the doo-doo alerts fewer? Or is there still raw sewage all the time flooding into the waters and the neighborhoods and the parks and the roads? They borrowed $150 million in 2023. Are the roads any better? They're digging them up, though, aren't they? Tearing them up downtown. We got projects. William Harrison said to do this. All right, let's see what else Josh Street says. Looking ahead. Our February mid-year budget workshop, fiscal year, which begins at the end of September, October, we'll evaluate. So they're going to evaluate spending. We're going to set priorities, finalize a path through the next 1 to 2 years of the temporary recovery plan, loan rather. That's the $150 million. Right now, we are individually working on our recommendations in preparation for this workshop. Debt priority. He says you can't talk about reserves without addressing recovery debt. What good are reserves if buildings remain in despair? That's what we've been asking, Josh. Infrastructure is broken. Ding, ding, ding. And debt is unresolved. The guy has the ability to say things that are completely false, call you, somebody spreading misinformation with no compunction. Some people can lie, especially about other people, like the way he's vilifying the city clerk, the CPA. It's incredible. All the while, this is the worst part. I probably wouldn't be on his butt as much if he didn't wear his religion on his sleeve and pretend to be a godly man. That, along with William Harrison, by the way, who's the worst of the worst, you talk about the holiest of holy molies, that guy. The holiest of holy molies. So the last of his post on Friday, he says, closing out our $150 million recovery loan that they took out in 2023, 3-year loan. He says it has $8 million a year in interest. He's only wrong by $700,000. It's $9 million a year. The city pays almost $9 million a year just to service the loan. Now, this is the craziest part. It gets crazier when I get to Commissioner Jenna Halligus. Believe it or not. All right. So he says, closing out our $150 million recovery loan in like a year and a half is the fastest way to improve our finances. $8 million a year represents about 13% of our general fund budget. So again, it's closer to 9 million. Okay, I'll show you. So like God, like 15, 16% of the budget is to pay the interest on this $150 million loan they took out from Truist Bank to fix infrastructure in 2023. He says by consolidating FEMA projects to those approved, permitted, and ready for construction, we've already saved a significant amount of time and resources. A rebuilt city is the key to retiring this debt quickly. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Now, think about this, please. In August of 2023, the city borrows $150 million. The interest rate is almost 6% to pay it back. They claim that they are getting a return of about 3%. So they are borrowing $150 million. They are getting 3% return if all the money stays in the bank and it's not spent. But no matter what they do with the $150 million loan, every single year they have to pay $9 million to service the debt. Do you hear me? Let me break it down one more time. Interest payments on the $150 million loan are closer to $9 million per year. Now, at least he acknowledges the cost. Commissioner Halligus claimed that the $150 million loan generated $5 million a year. But it was really a loss. It's really a loss of $4 million a year, at least. Even if they were getting 3% interest on the entire 150 if they haven't spent it. At least Josh Street acknowledges that the $150 million loan is costing about like 15% of the city's budget just to pay the interest back. At least he acknowledges that. Because what I'm going to show you now is unbelievable. I'm going to show you what Commissioner Halligus, posted on Saturday or Sunday. I don't remember what day. All I know is I've got to show it to you. I've got to share it with you. I do want to remind you that I send out a newsletter every Friday with all of the shows, all the posts. So if you want to get just like a email every week where you don't have to go on Facebook, you don't have to chase it around. It's all in one email. It's a weekly newsletter. It's free. Here's where it takes about 30 seconds to sign up for it. It is right here. You're not going to want to miss this. There we go. Bernie.substack.com. Do it later if you want, but don't miss out on this. It's once a week. You're going to get the free everything in one email. And if you know somebody who doesn't have Facebook, you should sign them up, get their free email newsletter. You don't even need Facebook to see the shows. Bernie.substack.com. Now there is a paid version, and the paid version you get behind the scenes video at least one per week, and it's kind of like that. Get a paid subscription at bernie.substack.com, and now you will get behind the scene videos emailed to your inbox, and you're liable to see just about anything. Get out! Don't get out, keep fast. What's going on? So I've got less than 2 days to get it all together. I'm nervous because I've never done anything like this before. Nighttime and hot. Another red light. Yellow flies. Okay, he's dead.
Since might not count something.
Yes, that's what they are. They're like the great whites of the insect world.
Right on my arm.
All right, that's the paid. You get everything, and plus you get behind the scenes. All right, and it's a great way to support my efforts, and boy, could I use it. All right, so let's take a look at. Do you want to see the story about when Panama City took out the $150 million loan, for which they pay $9 million a year in interest? I'll show you. Yeah, here it is. Wow. Watch this.
Panama City Commissioners approved the largest loan in the city's history this morning.
They'll use the 3-year, $150 million loan to begin infrastructure projects throughout the city. News 13's Jack Cole tells us the money could give residents a chance to see some real progress.
Panama City Commissioners say this loan is a means to an end. In recent years, Panama City has been awarded over $300 million in grants and state loans, but they can only access that money as reimbursement. They must pay for projects with cash on hand. Currently, the city only has around $40 million.
I mean, whenever you're stepping into debt, it's a very, very scary situation.
It's not when it's not your money. Look, there's the finance pastor. Hey, when it's other people's money, it's no big deal, right? Some of it gets kicked around, I'm sure, somewhere. Oh boy. Anyway, the finance pastor says there's always a borrowing $150 million is always scary. But it's not, we don't have to let's pay it back. We're going to make the people pay it back. Watch this. This was from 2023.
Only has around $40 million.
I mean, whenever you're stepping into debt, it's a very, very scary situation.
At a fixed rate of 5.82%, commissioners would need to set aside $8.73 million a year.
All right. I see what you said, Miss Sermon. How's your reception? Because I don't want you to miss this. Do I need to replay the news story about the loan? I see that some of you, Miss Sarah Moon says the internet's lagging. I'm fuzzy. Anybody else? Okay. Anybody else having the same issue? I'm gonna keep it going from here, okay? Because I don't have it. I don't have it in me. I'm blurry. Son of a. What's going on around here? I think I know what's going on actually, but I don't want to frighten you. All right, I'm going to play it and try to get through it. And if I have to redo the show tomorrow, we'll do what we got to do. It's bad, huh? I'm tempted to quit. I'm tempted to quit the show. All right, I'm with you. Hang tight. Let me just see here. If it's not lagging for some of you, I think. Okay, there's our expert. Bad internet equals weak uploads. Weak uploads. It's live. See, Jeremy is an IT expert. He's like a doctor of IT, right? Imagine, this is great. Imagine if I start arguing with Jeremy about why he's wrong. Jeremy, they're not uploads, man. All right, this is different. You don't understand, Jeremy. I'm doing it the same way. Imagine me arguing with an IT doctor. That is like Josh Street, a finance pastor, Commissioner Granger, all of them. They argue with a CPA about accounting. All right, I don't know what you mean, Jeremy, but I'll check in with you. The videos you're playing have the start. All right, I'm going to keep going. What the hell? Let me finish this. This is the $150 million loan Panama City took out in 2023 that they're paying $9 million a year in interest on. And I'm not seeing it put to good use. Are you?
$0.73 million a year just to pay off the interest, meaning staff and budget cuts could be on the way. They also.
Oh my God. Now I've confused myself. Hang tight. Add to the stage. That's what it says. Add to the stage.
With cash on hand. Currently, the city only has around $40 million.
I mean, whenever you're stepping into debt, it's a very, very scary situation.
At a fixed rate of 5.82%, commissioners would need to set aside $8.73 million a year just to pay off the interest, meaning staff and budget cuts could be on the way. They also hope that putting their loan in an investment account can help offset the expense.
Did you hear that? Even the news guy said 8.7 million a year to pay the interest back. But Josh Street's telling everybody it's only 8 million. It's 8 million. It's closer to 9, Josh. It's only $700,000, Bernie.
Expense.
Anything that we do not take out of the investment account will be put into some very secure investments, bonds, treasuries, that kind of thing. And that interest that's occurred on that amount will offset the interest payments.
The city plans to invest the money primarily on infrastructure, such as roads, sewer systems, and water lines. Projects that will take more than 3 years are not being considered. The city has the option to refinance the loan with its lender, Truist Bank, if more expenses are required.
That's right.
Panama
Simon.
City, Jack Hull, News 13, Panhandle Strong.
None of the commissioners or audience members spoke against taking out that loan. They voted unanimously to approve the loan deal.
All right. So now that you're up on this loan, okay, we don't need that. So now that you're up on the loan, let's see what Jenna Halligus posted. And I like Jenna Halligus as a person. I do. But I'll tell you what, her Facebook post was so insulting. I'll show you. Very insulting. And she's been there the longest. She's cast the vote on all of the bad spending, like building the new city hall, having ZHA, a company, do a capital improvement study back in 2015 or 2016 that recommended spending all that money on a new city hall. Like, I mean, going all the way back, she's been there 8 years. She's really cast some bad votes. But it's this post though that's just so insulting. Watch. So this was posted over the weekend, and just this opening paragraph is unreal. Can I just tell you, never take anyone seriously who is in government and accuses others of misinformation. That is a term that only got really popular since like COVID. Okay. If you look at how often it's used, it got big during COVID. Maybe a little earlier even. Anybody would have been sort of laughed at 10 or 15 years ago, because when you say, hear me closely, please, this is really important. When you say that you're spreading misinformation, what you are saying is that you are infallible, that you know everything. It's so anti-intellectual. It's so stupid. And I don't think that, quite frankly, I don't think Commissioner Halligus means to be insulting or to say something so stupid. But whenever, do you hear me saying it? No, because I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, you know that I correct it, because I don't have any allegiance except to the truth. But if you're in government, if you want to be taken seriously, really, if you want to be taken seriously, or if you just want to improve your own intellect, do not accuse other people of misinformation. And I'll tell you the main reason why. Because down the road, as I'm prone to do, down the road, I will embarrass you. I will show that what you said you knew for sure 2 or 3 years ago was not true. Well, then we act on new information, Bernie. Well, then stop saying misinformation. You don't know everything. That goes to everybody who says it. You're anti-intellectual when you say that. I'm not talking to Jenna Halligus. I'm talking to all the people who say it, from federal government all the way to local government. It's retarded. Now, after I say don't say something, let's get back to this, and I've got to share this with you. Okay. In all my years serving on the commission, she says, I've never encountered such a wave of misinformation, a wave of it, like a tsunami of misinformation. Her whole time in 8 years, this is the worst it's ever been. The worst ever. It's disheartening to see false narratives taking hold, especially when we've worked so hard. The city of Panama City, she's actually not bad at it. Everybody else there sucks, except for Mayor Doc Rowan, at transparency. And I mean sucks out loud. But she says I work very hard on ensuring transparency and accountability in every decision that we make there. I hope that by sharing the facts, we can clear up these misunderstandings and keep our focus on the positive progress that we've achieved together as a city. I don't think she wrote this. I think she signed off on it and posted. I do not think she wrote this. I think it was given to her. It sounds to me like it was written. You read it and you tell me it doesn't sound exactly like Jonathan Hayes. It's exactly how the city manager talks. I think she was having a nice weekend and somebody said, hey, Jenna, we need you to post this. Okay, you're the expert. That's what I think happened. I do not think she wrote this. I'd bet on it, but I don't know. Recently, she says, the topic of raising taxes and cutting the fire tax was brought up. See, this is how come Tho Bishop, Josh Street, and Jenna Halligus, why are they all starting with it was the city clerk's fault? That is not free independent thinking. That is a narrative. And Jonathan Hayes, the city manager, I think it sprang from his deceitful mind. That's what I think happened, based on information and belief. Now, first thing you got to do is vilify the city clerk. That's the game. That's the way they're doing it. So as long as you see it, you can point it out. So when they do it, everybody knows they're dishonest. For the record, she says it was our damn city clerk who proposed raising taxes on our citizens and not cutting the fire tax. And this suggestion was denied. Because one thing that Commissioner Halligus takes very, very seriously is fiscal responsibility, making sure the city of Panama City doesn't spend $8 million for ice and water right after the hurricane, which all of it was thrown away, basically. But don't worry, FEMA's going to reimburse us. I mean, one thing that she takes very, very seriously is making sure that every dollar of your hard-earned dollars are spent perfectly. Like, one thing she wouldn't do is vote to spend $33 million, give it to Burke Construction or Burke Contractors, whatever, to fix the Martin Theater. $33 million of FEMA money to fix the Martin Theater that has like 300 seats. So, all right, let's go to page 2. All right, now she's going to break it down so you're no longer, so that you can be unburdened of the misinformation. Okay. So let's start with the fiscal strength of the city. 20 million in reserves. We have this amount set aside for Hurricane Michael related debt. These funds are available to us at any time and can be moved to the general fund reserve if needed, she says. The second major point that she'd like to educate us about over the weekend is that all recent spending has been focused on critical water, sewer, and stormwater improvements. Can't you tell? These investments in the city's future and quality of, these are investments in the city's future and quality of life, not frivolous expenses. I mean, all right, let's finish this. $150 million in grants they got. They got a lot of money, but man, they just always need more. So much more, they had to take a $150 million loan. And she's going to talk about that next. These grants are transformative for our infrastructure. While they must be paid up front, we are reimbursed afterward, ensuring no long-term burden on taxpayers. I'm going to put a pin in that, screenshot that, make sure. So when there's a long-term when there's a long-term burden on taxpayers, we'll point that out and see if there was any misinformation. Now, let me show you something, because recently, I mean, there's been no frivolous expenses. Everything has been really focused on infrastructure. Let me show you something. This is from June 26, just a few months ago. You're not going to believe this. All right. Let's see. I think it's, yeah, it's this one. You're not going to believe this. I'm just going to hit play. All right. You ready?
Panama City commissioners say they're anxious to rebuild 2 downtown assets that were damaged by Hurricane Michael, but some residents say they're favoring one over the other. The commission decided to spend FEMA money on the Martin Theater renovations instead of rebuilding boat slips at the downtown marina. Commissioners say it's the fiscally responsible.
It's a fiscally responsible thing to do. Oh, man. The Panama City Commission voted in June to give $33 million to Burke Contractors or Burke Construction to renovate the Martin Theater. To renovate it. Now, the crazy thing is, down the road on the water, there is a civic center that holds 3,000 people. And Christopher Dodd, I believe it's Christopher Dodd, he gave a presentation. He said for $33 million. And this is an I believe he's an engineer or an architect. Anyway, he's one of actually the very respected contractors in this town. Lots of experience. He said that he could rebuild the Civic Center with 3,000 seats for $33 million. So what did they do? Well, they started a lie campaign against the well-respected contractor. And instead of that deal, they wanted to give $33 million of FEMA money to renovate the Martin Theater. Of FEMA money. Think about that when you're making breakfast in the morning. All right, let's get back to this. Listen, it's unbelievable.
To spend FEMA money on the Martin Theater renovations instead of rebuilding boat slips at the downtown marina. Commissioners say it's the fiscally responsible decision. That didn't stop some residents from accusing the commission of prioritizing one project over the other.
I think there was a sense of it was a either or of the projects. Couldn't be further from the truth. Both the slips at the downtown marina and the Martin are 2 major priority projects that we had strategized about since last September.
Commissioners also awarded a $32.9 million contract to Burke Construction for the Martin Theater project.
Did you hear that? I mean, maybe the $33 million. I think that's $33 million FEMA money. That I think she's just reiterating it. Just how think about how flippantly WMBB throws that tagline at the end, as though the residents don't need to really know that, and maybe there could be a whole story on why $33 million to renovate the Martin Theater. That would be a really, really important news story. But instead, it's a throwaway line for WMBB. All right, let's take a look at Commissioner Halligas's explanation about the $150 million loan that they took out in 2023. Because now she's still explaining why everybody has misinformation and the city's doing so well financially, and our CPA, the city clerk, she just doesn't know what she's talking about. You know, Jenna Halligan says that the $150 million loan actually generates $5 million annually in returns. Read this. This loan is part of a strategic plan. The funds were invested, generating $5 million annually in returns, and will be fully reimbursed by 2026. Once reimbursed, this debt will no longer exist, leaving the city in even a stronger financial situation. Now, I want you to look at this closely, okay? They borrowed $150 million and they've got to pay it back plus 6% interest. That's $9 million a year in interest payments. She left that out. Commissioner Josh Street actually included it, but he said it was $8 million. She says the loan generates $5 million annually at 3%. Well, that would mean, unless I don't understand this, and it's possible, if they borrowed $150 million and it is generating $5 million annually, then they didn't do what they said they were going to do with the money. They needed to borrow $150 million, they said, to fix infrastructure. If you spend it, you're not getting the return for leaving it in the bank. Truist Bank. But either way, Commissioner Halligan made a fatal flaw, and this is probably the most important thing I'll say to you all night. When you're analyzing government policy, and this I learned from a book behind me, you can't see it. It's called The Law by Frederick Bastiat. It's a study of government. When you study policy, don't only look at what is seen and obvious, but look at also what is not seen, what is less obvious. You've got to do both. Commissioner Halligan here, she only looks at what is seen. It's generating by the way, a great public record request would be for statements on this loan. What happened to the $150 million? Did they spend it, or did they put it in a investment and they're just leaving it there? What are they doing with that money? But she's only saying it's even if we go with it's generating $5 million annually with like 3% returns, it's costing the city $9 million annually at 6% interest. That's a loss of $4 million each year. Where is my logic wrong? If I find out it's different than what I have shown you, I will report that as fast as I can. In August of 2023, the city borrowed $150 million from Truist Bank at a fixed rate of 5.82%. That's $8.7 million a year in interest payments. Okay. So the commissioner, who rants and raves about all the misinformation, posts that the city is making a killing on borrowing $150 million in 2023. But she leaves out, and Josh undercuts it by $1 million. Yeah, even if you are, and I don't think you are, bringing in $5 million a year, earning 3% interest, you're paying 6%. Is that misinformation? So I talked to somebody that knows more about this kind of stuff than you. What do you make of this? This is what this person said. If the budget stuff that's posted is the latest budget stuff, if their information is accurate, get a load of this. They're running at a deficit of almost $17 million a year without accounting for all of the fixed capital outlay that they have to prepay and then wait to be reimbursed later with grant money. That's a pretty big deal. Also, where's the $150 million loan? They literally borrowed an entire year's worth of revenue and more. Where's it at? The other fatal flaw is the assumptions. They are assuming that all taxes and fees and assessments will be paid on time and in full. There's no contingency for overruns, no margin of error, and no contingency plan for any project to hit a bump in the road, inclement weather, staff turnover, whatever. Is that misinformation? I'm telling you, this is crazy as hell. And from the response I got, boy, they say politics sure makes strange bedfellows. I'll say. And I tell you, you want to fire me up and get me working on a Sunday. You say some stupid shit on Facebook and have everybody reading off the same sheet of music. A bunch of people who normally are not on the same sheet of music. That'll fire me up, especially when it involves $150 million that makes no sense. And then you try to say, blame it on the person with a CPA. Blame it on the CPA. Everybody blames it on the CPA. Yeah, there's something going on there. Over target there. And another thing. It's okay to criticize people with the same letter behind their name as you have. I don't have a letter behind my name. You say, yes, you do, you're independent. All right, whatever. My team is about liberty, freedom, the truth, public trust. I just can't believe it. All of the stupid narratives. Y'all gave yourselves away. You gave yourselves away. And we want to know now, actually, since you're oversharing, can we please see all the financial statements for that $150 million loan? The city still won't show me where the $500,000 conversations they had. They tried to say, well, Bernie, this is what we talked about in February. Really? I want to see every single email for the past couple of weeks about that and about my name. Oh, Bernie, that'll be $60. It's not about the $60 to me. Say, Bernie, we'll get you $60. No, don't give government jack. No, they should budget. They should budget in public record requests for the people. We'll get it another way. But we're not giving this, we're not paying them to give us what's ours. That is under the statute OUCHO. Are you familiar with that? OUCHO? Here, I'll explain it to you by sort of sounding it out. It's an acronym, OUCHO. And I'll use it in a sentence. You out your effing mind, okay? You are out your effing mind. You think that we're going to pay you for our public records to show us simple stuff. Oucho. Look it up. All right. Anyways, that's about all I got. I want to thank, of course, the Unknown Patriot for your support of my efforts to bring you what I see as the truth. Doing my best. And I appreciate it. Those of you who help by some of you throwing a tip in the tip jar. That's what Patreon is. I met a few of you the other night at Margot Anderson's book signing. It was so nice. Thank you. As little as $5 a month at patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. It's easy, isn't it? It's anonymous. It's anonymous. And you can quit at any time. Is that about it? I feel like there's other things I'm supposed to tell you. I don't remember if there's other things I'm supposed to tell you. Oh, it's just unbelievable. But anyway, they certainly gave themselves away, and I wanted to share what I've uncovered.